What's up, guys? Welcome to the Line Change. In this video, we're going to be going over a tell-all interview by Filip Chytil. Now, 4 days ago, Filip Chytil was on the 100% Canucks podcast with Landon Ferraro and John Shannon, and he had a lot to say in regards to his injury this past season, that concussion that he had, what he's been doing this offseason training wise, and as well as the end of the season, how he was, healthy going into this offseason. Briefly touches on the fact that he got married this past offseason, so which is great. And there's a rumor going around there that he wasn't the only one who got married. Supposedly, Elias Pettersson got married. That's what fans are assuming based on some stuff, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Filip Chytil and his tell-all interview with John Shannon and Landon Ferraro of the 100% Canucks podcast. Before we dive into this interview and talk about it, I want to give a quick shout out to my sponsor, Gassy Jack Art, maker of that amazing artwork you see there behind my shoulder. And you guys can check them out yourselves at GassyJackArt.com. You can also find him on Instagram at Gassy Jack Art. There's a link to his website in the description down below. So let's go ahead and get into this interview. Our friends at Canucks Army were able to transcribe this for us, and as a matter of fact, it was Corey, better known as CanucksNews Summaries, is the one who summarized this for us here on this Canucks Army article. I will leave a link to the article in the description down below. He goes on to say, on August 20th, Vancouver Canucks centerman Filip Chytil sat down with Landon Ferraro and John Shannon of the 100% Canucks podcast to discuss numerous topics regarding his offseason. Chytil obviously had another challenging season on the injury front. He'd only played 10 regular season games the previous season and was forced to sit out the rest of the 24-25 season after only 15 games in a Canucks uniform. Thankfully, he was healthy enough to return to practice before the season ended and has enjoyed an offseason where he's been able to train regularly. Getting married isn't the only time he's spent with family this summer. Chytil's brother is a strength coach and is an active participant in his offseason. The brothers are putting an emphasis on injury prevention. Now, this is a quote from Chytil himself. We are focusing a lot on my eyes, on my head as well, on my neck, because the last couple of years were not easy for myself, so we try to focus on these things a lot. There's always things that I have to work on. I cannot do the same workout that I did 3 years ago. We're always trying to find at the beginning of the offseason what is going to be the best for me, and we do some testing, and based on what we can, on that, we start to create the program for the whole summer. As previously mentioned, he went into the offseason with a clean bill of health. Another quote from Chytil, great, I feel great. I said it at the end of the season that I feel I was ready to go off-season. I was very happy that I finished the season with the guys on the ice for a couple of practices. 2 weeks after I came back to the Czech Republic, I started to work out and skate. Now it's almost 4 months already where I'm working out and skating. Knock on wood. I feel very good and feel very positive. Being able to end the season on a healthy note was huge for Chytil's mental state. It was big for me because I was communicating a lot with the trainers. Some days were worse, some days were getting better, but there was some point where it changed and I started to feel much better every day. I was so happy about that. When you start skating with the team, your head starts to react different. You see all the guys around and you're in your natural environment. That's where you want to be. So it started to click everything in my head and I was so happy and my body started to work. Of course, I was tired and I was not in shape how I should be, but at least the thing in my head where I was able to be on the ice with them was amazing. I knew right away that I would be ready to go home and skate right away. A funny evolution of his summers is that he's gone from a youngster to a veteran that young NHL hopefuls look up to. He skates with, and I'm probably going to butcher some of these names, Yuri Kulich of the Buffalo Sabres, Matej Blamel of the Boston Bruins, and Gabriel Sturk of the Tampa Bay Lightning, who have played a combined 76 NHL games. Another quote from Chytil: "Most of the young guys who are playing in the AHL are trying to make it in the NHL. I'm just realizing how I'm getting older because I was always skating with the older guys, and these guys are 3 to 4 years younger than me. They are asking me for some help or advice. It's weird, but I'm very happy for them because they have so much energy, and that's what I need as well." Prior to the trade to Vancouver, Chytil had spent his entire professional career on the East Coast. While he hasn't noticed a stark contrast between the Eastern and Western teams, there is a difference between them. And this is another quote from Chytil: "From the first couple of games, it was a little different. Maybe it was because of the system was different from the Rangers. I was speaking about the differences with my teammates in Vancouver now, and they said it feels like the Western Conference is more heavier, more battles. In the Eastern Conference, it was more like different. It's like more of the teams playing fast, but more skill. There's not too many teams like when you say Buffalo or Ottawa or even the Rangers, how we played. It was fast, but skill. That was not heavy. I think this is why Florida is dominating that conference now, because they play a very heavy game. Not that many teams, I think, in the Eastern Conference like that. Of course, the biggest issue for Western teams is the lengthy travel. I didn't travel with the Canucks to the East Coast yet because I was injured. Even when we went to Vegas and then California, I thought it was close. When you look at the map, I thought it was like maybe 1 hour or hour 30 minutes. We were flying to Vegas almost 3 hours, maybe more. I was like, what's going on? Because on the map, it looks like a short distance. The closest city is Seattle, which is also 45 minutes or whatever. So that's crazy. I have to find my routine for these road trips. Dealing with injuries is something that Chytil has had to deal with for a while now. It's certainly affected his career and has continuously halted his progress. Another quote from Chytil: "It's starting with the beginning of the offseason. I had my head turned for the new season, and I just focused these 4 months to be ready for that and grab it and be healthy. In New York, we always had great centermen ahead of me, and even when I finally jumped ahead of one of them, or even when I became the first line center, because I was playing on top of my game at the beginning of the year, the injury came again, and I always fell back to the third center position. When I came back, it's always hard to get the rhythm again. Even last season, when I missed the whole year, I started as a second line center. I played a lot. I didn't play power play that much, but 5-on-5, I was there a lot. And then the biggest injury of my career just came, and I had a whole year off. Everything depends on my health now. On my health right now, I know what I can do, and I will do everything to help our team to make the playoffs again, to make it a successful season for us. I need to focus on my health as well. In order to advance in the Canucks organization, he must be physically in Vancouver. I'm coming at the beginning of September, probably the second week of September. So that's him saying when he'll be back in Vancouver. The Czech forward will be 26 years old before training camp starts. With all the time lost to injury, he's never completed a full NHL season. A significant amount of development time has been lost. This offseason, though, he's been completely healthy and able to focus on what he wants to be in the NHL. Another quote from Chytil: "I love to score goals, and I know I can score a lot more than I'm scoring now, or even what my best season was. So we're working with my skill coach around the net a lot, working on my shot, working on one-timers. This is the thing that I'm working on the most. Of course, we're working on my edges, doing puck handling. The thing I love the most is just shooting. I know there is so much room of what to work on, and so much room how to get better. Even the top players work on their shot all the time. I love to score goals, and I need to score more. With all the roster and coaching turnover, there are opportunities for players like Chytil to carve out a bigger piece of the pie. He knows that, but is also aware that it all comes down to what he does on the ice." And then last quote from Chytil: "The coach puts me on as a second line center or third center or first center or whatever position. I will do my best. I have to earn that ice time, and I want to show Adam Foote that when I'm healthy, I can help the team a lot. It's all up to me how I'm going to play. I need to show the coaches and everybody that I can be the guy who can help the team a lot." The Canucks are still lacking a true second-line center, and Chytil, more than anyone else in the organization, is the most obvious internal candidate for the job. Everyone hopes he can stay healthy and reach his full potential. As of now, this is the biggest opportunity of his career, and maybe a full offseason of training will allow him to reach it. So that is the interview. Now, I want to dive into some key things that were mentioned in this interview that really stood out for me. So let's go ahead and dive into some of those key things. And I'm going to start off with number one, and that was the fact that he returned to practice before the end of the season and has been able to train regularly this offseason, which is obviously a huge positive. He's been able to train regularly this whole offseason. He wasn't going into the offseason injured. He did, get cleared, just prior to the end of the season. And obviously the Canucks figured, hey, let's ease him back in. Let's not throw him right back into game action. Let's let him rest and let him get a early start to his offseason, which appears to have worked. Number two for me, and that is the fact that Chytil's brother is a strength coach, and he's been training with his brother, and they've been putting an emphasis on injury prevention. This is also positive news. Now he's working closely with his brother, who's a strength coach, and they're trying to figure out, what's best for him and what works, and they want to put an emphasis on preventing injuries, which is fantastic, which is great to hear. Number three, I kind of mentioned this in the first one, but like I said, being able to end the season on a healthy note was huge for Chytil's mental state. So obviously, he had a clear mind at the end of the season. He knew he was going into this offseason healthy. That didn't take a toll. His concussion didn't take a toll on him mentally. So that is huge. Now, this one is more so a quote from Chytil that really jumped out at me, and that was him talking about that concussion he had last season where he ended up missing the entire season, because of it. Saying, when I came back, it's always hard to get into the rhythm again. Even last season, when I missed the whole year, I started as a second-line center. Now, I had to break this up into two parts, so that is the first part. Here's the second part. I played a lot. I didn't play power play that much, but 5-on-5, I was there a lot. And then the biggest injury of my career just came, and I had a whole year off. So just hearing him talk about, that concussion that basically forced him out for almost an entire year, just hearing him talk about it and, how he was kind of rolling going prior to that injury, and then it just, boom, happening like that, really puts things into perspective on concussion injuries and just his mindset going into that. Another quote that jumped out at me was this one. Him saying, I love to score goals, and I know I can score a lot more than I'm scoring now or even what my best season was, so we're working with my skill coach around the net lot. This is great to hear that he's focusing on putting the puck in the net, something that the Canucks need from a lot of their players, and Chytil in particular, especially if we're looking at him as our second-line center. But the fact that he's working with his skill coach, and the fact that he loves to score goals, and the fact that he's saying, I know I can score a lot more than I'm scoring now, or even that I've scored, prior, is positive news, at least to me. I can't speak for all Canucks fans, but reading this really gives me positive vibes when it comes to Filip Chytil, as obviously I've mentioned on this channel that I've been very hesitant on him being the quote-unquote second-line center that they're going to roll with to start the season because of his health. And then this last quote really stood out to me, and that was this one. If the coach puts me on as a 2C, 3C, or 1C, or whatever position, I would do my best. I have to earn that ice time, and I want to show foot that when I'm healthy, I can help the team a lot. This, once again, just screams positive for me. The fact that this is his mindset, he's saying, I will do my best. He knows that he's got to earn that second-line center role going forward. If the Canucks aren't able to actually bring someone in to be their second-line center, he knows he's going to have to earn the ice time and to even stay as a second line center. He's going to have to earn that by producing, staying healthy, and it's just very positive hearing him say all these things. He's saying all the right things, kind of similar to Elias Pettersson and his little interview that he did. He's saying all the right things, and now it's all about putting words to action for training camp. So obviously, hearing this interview really has me, hopeful and positive when it comes to Filip Chytil and his health going into the season. Obviously, we'll see after maybe the first 5 or 10 games. We'll see for sure, maybe even more than that. But I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What do you guys think about this tell-all interview from Filip Chytil? What do you guys think about some of these quotes that he did? Talking about how he loves to score goals, and the fact that he knows he can score a lot more. That's one of his goals, is to, pun intended, kind of. It's something he wants to do. He wants to score more. He talks about how he's been healthy going into this offseason. He's been training with his brother, who's a strength coach, and they're putting an emphasis on injury prevention, possibly doing stuff that makes it so, he can, especially when it pertains to his head, his neck, and stuff like that. But once again, let me know in the comment section down below your guys' thoughts on this interview from Filip Chytil. And as always, if you guys like this video, be sure to hit that like button. And if you want to stay up to date on all your Vancouver Canucks content, be sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss a single video. You can find us on social media. You can find us on Facebook. Just search The Line Change to find our Facebook page. You can find us on Instagram at The Line Change. You can find us on X at Line Change Man. You can find us on TikTok at the TLC Podcast. You can also find us on Blue Sky at The Line Change. Feel free to give us a follow on all of our social media platforms. If you prefer an audio version of this podcast, you can find us on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts. On Spotify, feel free to give us a follow, as well as rate and review us. It is, of course, really appreciated and really helps out the podcast. But that's going to do it for me in this video. As always, let's go Canucks, and I'll see you guys in the next video.